This is Showtime, a podcast about the people behind the curtain and the stories that shape them. I'm Andrew G, and each week I'll sit down with creatives, leaders and risk takers from the theatre world and beyond. We talk about what they do, why they do it, and what it really takes to keep showing up. I'm joined by Carol Shelbourne, a much-loved performer with nearly 100 shows to her name. From folk music in the UK to the Melbourne stage, we're going to dive into her incredible journey, her favourite roles, and her latest performances at Brighton Theatre Company. Welcome to Showtime, Carol Shelbourne.
Thank you very much.
I've got to start. What brought you to Australia from the UK?
My husband.
Not who? What?
No, he was sent out here by the company he was working with to sort out an office over here that wasn't going terribly well when we were only supposed to stay for 1 year.
And how long ago was that?
1980.
Have you checked your watch since? That was a little while ago.
It was a bit.
And why'd you stay? What was it?
John had been out here several times before and really liked it. And he knew that once I got out here, I wouldn't want to go home. And I didn't. It was the best thing.
What's been your biggest adjustment from the UK to Melbourne?
You know what? It's a bit difficult to say now all the time because I am Australian to all intents and purposes. But there wasn't a lot. I think moving to Melbourne helped because it's more like the UK than Sydney is, and it's more manageable. So I seem to fit in very well.
And you've been involved in quite a lot of community groups and performing groups in your time, haven't you?
Yes, I've been a big volunteerer, put it that way.
How did your love for community start?
Well, I've just always been a volunteer, really, I think. I was very fortunate in as much as I didn't have to work when I had my children. Fortunate to be in that. Obviously, I had to do something, so I've just been in things, but I was in the scouting movement for a long time.
And were your kids part of the scouting movement too?
My son, they were 7 and 9 when they came here. So they started Cubs and Brownies here. But my daughter never really took to it. My son went through to Scouts, and that's why I became an Arcala at the Cub Pack. Well, you see, I met somebody from the theatre company, but I couldn't stop being Arcala because, I promised I would do it for a certain amount of time.
Kayla being a scout leader, yes.
The scout leader, a Cub Scout leader, yes. I had to hang on until my son had left the Cub Pack before I went round to the theatre company.
So is it through your children's scouting that you found your way into community theatre?
No. I went, because when you come from another country, I find what I did was join everything. Right, just anything anybody wanted to do. So I went to jazz ballet, and I met a wonderful girl called Judy. But then I had to wait till I'd stopped being an Arcala before I actually went, down there.
And had you at that stage seen much local theatre in Melbourne?
I hadn't. I had actually, when I gave you my list of things, I had done a show the previous year at the local church hall, which was Oh What a Lovely War. I saw an advertisement in the local paper saying they wanted people, and I just rocked up and did it. But that was a one-off, that was a one-off, and then nothing happened after that. They weren't a company as such. It was just a group of people that were putting it on. So when the opportunity came to go to Brighton, I was really fired.
So it sounds to me, Carol, that for you, the drive, the passion is as much about the connection with other people as it is the storytelling.
Oh, undoubtedly, particularly in community.
Which is such a big part of Melbourne's art and entertainment landscape, because there are over 150 small, medium-sized theatre production companies just around here.
I know. It's brilliant, really. I mean, it's just, and I don't remember when I lived in UK there being that much. I don't remember it at all. So I know it's just I think it's wonderful, and just meeting people. I find that that's as important as actually, performing and telling, as you say, sorry, I tend to wave my arms about, telling the story and all the rest of it. And it's all part of it.
So what is it that makes local theatre so special for you?
Just love it. I don't know. I just love it. I've made so many friends. It's so satisfying to make people laugh or to make them cry it's just wonderful. But then you've got the camaraderie in the dressing room, and then you have a whole network of people. So if you go to see someone else's show, you'll find someone in the foyer, someone you may not have seen for a few years, or, I don't know, I just think it's wonderful.
you'd see a lot of people in the audience time and time again too. So making that connection, not just with the people that you're performing with and are supporting the show, but also the people in the auditorium. That would be quite a special thing.
Particularly at Brighton, which is where I've done I've done a lot of stuff there because I'm a life member and I was on the committee and all the rest of it. But I do go elsewhere, but particularly at Brighton, yes, I see the same people in the foyer afterwards. And some of them, honestly, they've been coming since we started in 1985.
Which is incredible. And you yourself have done something like 93 productions, is that right?
I've squashed a lot into
You certainly have squashed a lot in, but when you started in performing, did it ever occur to you that you might rack up 100 shows?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, shall I tell you how I got in? Honestly, it's silly really, but this wonderful Judy lady invited me down to the first read-through of their first play at the Brighton Town Hall. They were just starting up there. Did I want to just go and, sit in and just see what goes on? And one of the actresses didn't turn up and they asked me to read. And I wasn't there to audition. They asked me to do it. And that was the beginning of it. And I did, I think, 9 shows in a row there, which was a wonderful grounding because I'd never done straight plays before at all. So for the first 3 years, I just worked at Brighton and then I started putting little tentacles out elsewhere. And I don't know, it's just gone on and on.
And 93 productions later, I mean, I've spoken to people that discover local theatre for the first time and they have maybe as much passion as you do talking about it 93 productions later. The novelty hasn't worn it off at all for you, has it?
No, not a bit. I mean, if anything, I get more nervous now going on stage than I did when I was younger, but that's another story. I don't know. I think I was 38 when I started, so I wasn't a child. I just think you're more aware of what can go wrong the more you go on, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's only briefly before I go on that I get nervous. The novelty never wears off because you're always doing something different. Different kind of play, a drama, a comedy, a farce,
Between you and me, there's no one else listening. Have you kept any souvenirs or mementos from shows?
Oh, yes.
What's your favourite? What's your favourite?
Oh, look, honestly, I have got a box. It's got every single silly, stupid thing that anybody's ever given me. I say I never look at them. I open it occasionally and have a look. There's so much stuff in there. I don't know what's in there, and also over this period of time, I have to be honest that there are things that I pick it out and think, it obviously was of great meaning at the time because you usually try and give something that's apropos of the play or the part or something. I've got masses of stuff. When I go, my kids are going to take one look at it and dump it straight in the bin.
Have you still got a big collection of programs too?
Yes, I've got all the programs. I've got all the cards and, the cards that people give you afterwards and all that sort of thing. I've got every single one of those. And I've also got about 4 photo albums. I like to have photos. I don't like to have them on my phone. So I've got right from the very beginning. I just print out maybe 6 or 7,
Having done that many shows, how do you balance that with all the other parts of your life?
Well, it's easier now. I'm retired, but I did used to do it while I worked. Who knows? I don't know. But now, I must admit, this play I'm in at Brighton, which we're going to talk about, because I only finished the play I was doing last Saturday, I'm literally learning lines practically all day now. That's what I am doing because it's only 2 weeks to opening night. So I'm having to really throw myself at the script.
And being a straight play as opposed to a musical, there were a lot of words to remember.
This is a monologue and it's, I'd say, 35 to 40 minutes. So I don't know if you're aware of Talking Heads, Alan Bennett. I don't know whether people, but they are a show in them. They're a sort of one-act play in them.
And Brighton Theatre Company is doing something quite interesting, something I haven't come across before, which is presenting 2 separate one-act plays as a single sitting. So there's a one-act play, then there's some sort of an intermission, and then the when they come back into the auditorium, there's a whole new work with probably new performers and new costumes and maybe even a new set.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Oh, well, it does. We've only got the one I'm doing only needs about half the stage. So there's a curtain across. So most of the others, I honestly haven't seen it, so I can't tell you exactly, but most of the other stuff will be set behind. And then we've only got a couple of bits of furniture for mine. It doesn't require a lot of anything much. So it'll work.
And The Rats by Agatha Christie is the other play that's going on the night. Tell us a bit more, for those that don't know, about The Lady of Letters.
I mean, Alan Bennett's writing is just superb. It was originally written for television. There was I think 6 or 7 that were done for television in about the 70s or 80s. And they're now available. Some of them, not all, are available to do on the stage. His writing is always very clever. It's always very funny, but it's always very sad. The people are always very sad people underneath all of that. And that's what I hope to try and bring out. I'm playing the part of Miss Ruddock, who is a single lady who's been living on her own far too long and writes letters people that she shouldn't be writing, put it that way. I won't tell you anymore because it's just what happens to her.
What is it that drew you to this play?
Well, to be perfectly frank, Deborah asked me to do it. But I also have done Lady of Letters, which is another one of them that Maggie Smith did originally. So I am absolutely aware of them. I have the books at home. I've read them all. So when someone asked me to do it, what can I say?
Obviously, you said yes.
I did say yes.
But it sounds to me like, within reason, if anyone asked you to participate in a local community show, you probably would say yes.
I am a little bit more than I used to be. When I started out, I absolutely said yes to everything or I went and auditioned for all sorts of things because I think anything you do on the stage is good experience, even if you're only, the third maid or something. I really do think, especially young people, take the little roles because very often you can make them your own, do them properly, and you just get to know people.
You know what? Let me ask you a different question because you one of the things you said to me, which I found really interesting, was that when you do shows, it's really good experience. And I expect to hear that, Carol, from someone who is fresh out of high school or fresh from university and has a real hunger to pursue a career in the performing arts. But as someone who is doing it for the passion of performing and the community connection, when you say it's really good experience, what do you mean?
Well, for me, it's always a good experience. You're meeting new people, you're working with new people. They can very often teach you something. You watch other people. New directors I haven't worked with, they'll give you something. You never know everything. You can always learn something. And when you're starting out, it's no good thinking you're going to walk into some starring role in 2 minutes because you probably may, but you probably won't. But if they offer you a secondary role, even if it's not exactly what you want, take it because you'll learn something and you get to know people. And let's be honest, it is a network, isn't it? So you get to know people. You might make some fabulous friends like I have that I've had for 35 years. I mean, it's not just the performing, it's everything that goes with it.
And that includes the other people with whom you're performing, but it also includes the production team, the directors, the production managers.
The techs, the front of house people, anybody.
And the people who are coming out, buying a ticket and not only watching the work, but really supporting what you're doing.
Of course. I mean, if it wasn't for them, none of us would be here.
Absolutely.
So, I quite agree there. No, I just find the whole thing.
What are you expecting audiences to take away from this show?
I hope an appreciation of Alan Bennett because I just think I worship him. I just would hope that they'd be moved, that this character will make them very cross because she's not really very nice. But I think they will also feel for her, hopefully, if I do it properly, by the end. And they will understand why she is like she is. That's all I can say. Because it's a monologue. Do you know what I mean? There's no there's no conversations with other people, or there's nobody else. There is only me.
And it's really you narrating to the audience the letters that are being written.
Well, yes, and the circumstances under which they're written, and then the repercussions of having written those letters. I'm not going to tell you.
No, don't spoil it. But do you actually write whilst you're in the play?
I'm telling them about letters I have written or letters I have received. But there's also a whole lot about what's going on over the other side of the road.
I'm talking to Carol Shelbourne, who is in one of the 2 one-act plays that are coming up at Brighton Theatre Company from the 30th of May until the 7th of June. It's not a long season, so if you're interested, now's the time to book tickets. For that or more information, visit brightontheatre.com.au. Carol, thank you so much for coming into the studio for a chat, and very best for the season.
Oh, gosh, absolute pleasure.